Dale, M. Oneal did not lose control. He greenlit dock hits with a nod, flipped entire South Side wards with a text, and made aldermen sweat just by dialing the wrong extension. People begged for his time. He doled it out like .45 rounds. He did not tail employees through the rain until the night his maid slipped out early and something older than reason took the wheel. The Oneal penthouse crowned the 87th floor of the Obsidian Spire, a black glass monolith stabbing the Chicago skyline. Dale ran the syndicate like a trauma surgeon, cold, exact, no tremors. Emotion was a liability he'd cauterized years ago. Veronica J. Suzuki was the night shift ghost the agency sent after the last cleaner vanished. 24, no record, no IG, no questions. She clocked in at 11:07 p.m., punched out at 4:43 a.m., and spoke only in soft yes sirs. She bleached blood off Italian marble without blinking, folded his Brioni shirts like origami, and never once met his eyes in the mirror. Perfect. Except perfection started to itch. He caught the tune first, some old Ella Fitzgerald she hummed while scrubbing the Wolf Range, voice barely above the vent's whisper. Then the way she tucked the same rebellious strand behind her left ear every time she bent to dust the baseboards. The way she thanked the night doorman, ***, Mr. Adebayo, ***, by name when no one else bothered. Around Dale, she was glass, transparent, breakable, untouchable. He told himself it was surveillance, risk assessment. A boss catalogs variables. So he noted. Tuesdays she wore the faded Northwestern hoodie. Thursdays she left 10 minutes early. Fridays she carried an extra Jewel-Osco bag that smelled faintly of hospital antiseptic. He hated that he noticed. Hated more that he waited to notice. Wednesday, 11:52 p.m. lightning stitched the sky over Lake Michigan. Veronica finished the master bath, hung the towel with military corners, and was gone before the thunder faded. Dale stood on the balcony, city bleeding neon below, and felt the absence, like a missing limb. His phone buzzed, some lieutenant begging guidance on a Burnham Harbor shipment. He killed the call. The service elevator dinged. She stepped into the garage, coat collar high, Air Jordan silent on concrete. Dale was already moving. Keys. No driver. The Maserati growled awake. Rain slashed the windshield as he shadowed her Uber south on Lakeshore Drive, past the glitzy Gold Coast into the artery of old brick and flickering L trains. She paid, darted under a cracked awning outside a 24-hour Walgreens on State and Madison. Checked her phone. Looked left, right. Then the kid appeared, tall, lanky, hoodie-soaked, grin splitting his face like sunrise. She launched into his arms. Dale's foot hit the brake, so hard the ABS screamed. He was out of the car before the wipers finished their arc Italian leather splashing through puddles, coat open to the storm. Grabbed her wrist, gentle, but not really. Who is he? Veronica spun, raindrops clinging to her lashes. Mr. Oneal? Answer the question. The kid stepped forward, palms up. Hey, easy. Dale's glare could have frozen Lake Michigan. You leave my building, vanish into the night, meet some. He's my brother. She cut in, voice steady, eyes wide with dawning amusement. Ryan. He's picking me up because Mom's shift ran late at Rush Medical. Silence thicker than the rain. Ryan scratched his neck. You're the guy who signs her checks, right? The one with the scary voice on speakerphone. Veronica's laugh cracked the night open. Bright, startled, unstoppable. Dale felt it in his sternum, like a bullet he hadn't seen coming. You followed me, she gasped between giggles, because you thought I had a date? Heat crawled up his throat, rage or shame, impossible to tell. He released her wrist like it burned. Security protocol, he lied. Sure, she said, wiping her eyes. Very protocol. Ryan offered a fist bump Dale ignored. Across the street, Dale's driver killed the headlights, shoulders shaking with silent laughter. Dale turned on his heel. Rain swallowed him whole, but her laughter chased him all the way back to the spire. Next morning, 5:17 a.m. The penthouse smelled of gun oil and intelligentsia dark roast. Dale hadn't slept. He sat in the dark, a bruise beyond the glass, shoulder holster unbuckled for once. The private elevator chimed. Veronica stepped in, ponytail damp from the rain that hadn't stopped, cheeks flushed from the cold. She hung her coat, rolled her sleeves, and pretended the most powerful man in the Midwest wasn't watching her like a chess problem. "Good morning, Mr. Oneal." He didn't answer immediately. Let the silence stretch until it snapped. "You found last night amusing. Only the part where you looked like you were about to declare war on a DePaul sophomore." He rose slow. "You'll use my driver from now on." Her sponge paused mid-circle on the Sub-Zero. "So, you can GPS my target runs? So nothing happens to you that I can't prevent." She turned, cloth dripping. "I've been preventing things just fine for 24 years. Not in my city." Their eyes locked. The air between them crackled like the storm outside. She broke first, returning to the sink. He watched the line of her neck, the stubborn set of her jaw, and felt the same lurch he'd felt on State Street, only now it had a name. When she reached across him for the method spray, their knuckles brushed. Static. A single heartbeat where neither breathed. Her gaze flicked to his, startled, then away. Dale's voice dropped to gravel. "Careful, Veronica." "Of the bleach?" she asked, too lightly. "Of everything." She swallowed, turned back to the counter. But her hands shook, just once, before she steadied them. He left her to the sunrise and the silence, pulse hammering like a .50 cal he no longer knew how to silence. Asterisk, he told himself it was still in control. Just a wider net. But every net has a hole, and Veronica J, Suzuki was slipping through it, straight into the parts of him he'd buried under concrete and cash. Asterisk. Asterisk, it had started long before the agency file landed on his desk. Long before her mother's rush medical bills became his leverage. Long before he realized the quiet girl who hummed Ella while scrubbing bloodstains was the one variable his empire couldn't balance. Asterisk. The penthouse smelled of gun oil and intelligentsia dark roast. Dale hadn't slept. He sat in the dark, a bruise beyond the glass, shoulder holster unbuckled for once. The private elevator chimed. Veronica stepped in, ponytail damp from the rain that hadn't stopped, cheeks flushed from the cold. She hung her coat on the brass hook by the service door, rolled her sleeves, and pretended the most powerful man in the Midwest wasn't watching her like a chess problem. "Good morning, Mr. Oneal." He didn't answer immediately. Let the silence stretch until it snapped. "You found last night amusing. Only the part where you looked like you were about to declare war on a DePaul sophomore." He rose slow. "You'll use my driver from now on." Her sponge paused mid-circle on the Sub-Zero. "So, you can GPS my target runs? So nothing happens to you that I can't prevent." She turned, cloth dripping. "I've been preventing things just fine for 24 years. Not in my city." Their eyes locked. The air between them crackled like the storm outside. She broke first, returning to the sink. He watched the line of her neck, the stubborn set of her jaw, and felt the same lurch he'd felt on State Street, only now it had a name. When she reached across him for the method spray, their knuckles brushed. Static. A single heartbeat where neither breathed. Her gaze flicked to his, startled, then away. Dale's voice dropped to gravel. "Careful, Veronica." "Of the bleach?" she asked, too lightly. "Of everything." She swallowed, turned back to the counter. But her hands shook, just once, before she steadied them. He left her to the sunrise and the silence, pulse hammering like a .50 cal he no longer knew how to silence. Dale hadn't moved from the living room. The city's pale light slid across the marble like a crime scene floodlight, catching the half-empty Glencairn in his hand. The whiskey was a 25-year Macallan, $4, $200 a bottle, and it tasted like ash. He hadn't taken a sip since she walked in. Veronica moved through the open-plan space with the efficiency of someone who'd memorized every inch. She wiped the island, restocked the Keurig pods, and aligned the remote controls at perfect 90-degree angles. Normal. Routine. Except nothing about this morning was normal. He watched her the way a sniper watches a rooftop, patient, predatory, waiting for the glint of a scope that might never come. She knew he was watching. He could tell by the way she kept her shoulders squared, the way her humming had stopped cold. No Ella Fitzgerald today. Just the soft shhh of microfiber on quartz and the low thrum of the HVAC. Dale set the glass down. The clink echoed like a gunshot. You gonna stand there all morning, or you got something to say? Veronica didn't flinch. She wrung the cloth over the farmhouse sink, water spiraling red-brown, leftover coffee grounds, not blood.
Not this time.
I already said it, she replied, voice light but edged. You looked ridiculous. End of story. Ridiculous. He tasted the word like a bad oyster. I looked ridiculous. She turned, finally facing him. The overhead pendants caught the gold flecks in her brown eyes that had never once begged for anything, not even when she'd asked for an advance on her first paycheck. You crossed a street in the pouring rain to interrogate a 20-year-old about his sister. You grabbed my wrist like I was a suspect. People took videos, Mr. Oneal. It's probably on TikTok by now. Chicago Mafia boss versus DePaul freshman. A muscle ticked in his jaw. Let them post it. I'll buy the app. She laughed, short, sharp, incredulous. Of course you will. Dale took a step closer. The floor-to-ceiling windows behind him framed the loop in bruised lavender, the Willis Tower a dark needle against the dawn. He wore yesterday's shirt, sleeves rolled to the elbow, the monogrammed cuffs unbuttoned. The bandage from an old graze on his forearm peeked out, souvenir from a sit-down in Pilsen that went sideways last month. You think this is funny, he said. I think it's insane, she shot back. I clean your toilets, Dale. I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your anything. The use of his first name hit like a slap. No one used it. Not his lieutenants, not his mother, not the feds who'd tried to flip him twice.
Dale.
It sounded obscene in her mouth, intimate, defiant. He closed the distance until the island was the only thing between them. She didn't back up. You step into my building, he said, voice low. You fall under my protection. That's how it works. Protection. She rolled the word like it was spoiled milk. You mean control. Same difference. Her eyes narrowed. Not to me. Silence pulsed. Outside, a helicopter thumped past, searchlights sweeping the lake. Dale's phone buzzed on the counter. Encrypted, burner. He ignored it. Veronica reached for the disinfectant again. Her sleeve rode up, revealing the faint scar on her wrist, thin, surgical. He'd noticed it weeks ago, filed it away like everything else. Appendectomy, age 12, the background check had said. He wondered if she still had the stuffed bear the hospital gave her. I wondered why. Their hands collided over the spray bottle. This time, neither pulled away. Her skin was cool from the tap. He was fever hot. The bottle tipped, clattered, rolled. Neither moved to catch it. Veronica. It wasn't a question. It was a warning. She met his gaze, unflinching. You don't get to do this. Do what? Act like last night was about my safety. You were jealous. The word detonated between them. Dale's nostrils flared. He could have denied it. Should have. Instead, he leaned in until their breaths mingled. Coffee, rain, and something dangerously close to want.
Call it what you want, he said.
Don't change the rule. There is no rule. There is now. He reached past her, opened a drawer, pulled out a black Amex Centurion card, slid it across the quartz like a poker chip. Company card. Drivers on call 24/7. You need groceries, Ubers, a new winter coat. Charge it. She stared at the card like it was a snake. I don't want your money. You want to walk home at 4 a.m. through Englewood? Be my guest. Her chin lifted. I've been doing it for months. Not anymore. She pushed the card back. I'm not your kept woman. You're my employee, he snapped. And employees don't get mugged on my watch. The lie tasted worse than the whiskey. They both knew it. Veronica's laugh was softer this time, bitter. You're unbelievable. She turned to the fridge, started unloading the grocery delivery that had arrived at 4:30. Organic eggs, grass-fed beef, the fancy oat milk she drank because it was cheaper than real milk when you factored in lactose pills. Dale watched her stack containers with military precision. He should leave. He had a 6:30 with a union boss at the Billy Goat, a 7:15 drop at O'Hare, a 9 o'clock sit-down with the Albanians who were getting bold about the fentanyl pipeline. His calendar was a minefield. Instead, he stayed. "Are you always this stubborn?" he asked. "Only when billionaires try to buy my autonomy with plastic." "It's titanium," she snorted. Actually snorted. The sound was so undignified, so human. It punched the air out of him. Dale rubbed a hand over his face. The stubble rasped. He hadn't shaved since yesterday. "I hadn't slept since the night before that." "Veronica." She paused, carton of eggs in hand. "I'm not asking," he said. "I'm telling you. My driver. My rules. Or you're out." The threat hung there, ugly and naked. He hated himself for it the second it left his mouth. Her shoulders stiffened. For a moment, he thought she'd quit, walk out, disappear into the city, and he'd never see her again. The thought was a blade between his ribs. Then she set the eggs down. Carefully. I turned to face him.
"Fine," she said.
"But I pick the music. And if your guy plays one more true crime podcast, I'm walking."
A beat.
Then, against every instinct, Dale laughed. It was rusty, surprised, real.
"Deal."
She rolled her eyes, but the corner of her mouth twitched. Victory. The sun was up now, a weak November coin behind the clouds. Veronica moved to the dining area, a 20-foot walnut table that seated 16, used maybe twice a year. She dusted the chandelier with the extendable pole, humming again. Not Ella this time. Something softer. Nora Jones, maybe. Dale poured 2 mugs of coffee. Black for him, oat milk and 2 Splendas for her, he'd noticed. Set hers on the counter, within reach. She glanced at it.
Didn't touch it.
He leaned against the island, arms crossed. "Are you always this difficult?" "Only when my boss stalks me." Followed. "Once." "Stalked," she corrected. "There's a difference." He sipped his coffee. "Enlighten me." Following his curiosity. "Stalking is an obsession." The mug paused halfway to his lips. She wasn't wrong. Veronica climbed down from the step stool, moved to the floor-to-ceiling shelves. Alphabetized the leather-bound first editions he never read. Her fingers lingered on a copy of The Prince. She pulled it out, flipped to a dog-eared page. "It is better to be feared than loved," she read aloud. "You highlight this?" "College," he lied. She slid it back. "Explains a lot." Dale set his mug down. "You read Machiavelli for fun?" "I read everything. Helps when your mom's in the ICU and the waiting room only has vending machines and 1998 People magazines." The casual brutality of it stopped him cold. He knew about the mom, knew about the $187,000 in medical debt, the GoFundMe that had raised $2,300 before it stalled. Knew because he'd paid the balance anonymously 3 weeks ago. Knew because he was a bastard. Veronica didn't know. And he'd never tell her. She moved to the hallway console, opened the drawer where he kept the spare keys. Pulled out a manila folder, the one with her name on it. The background check. Photos. Hospital bills. Her fingers froze. Dale's blood turned to ice. Veronica. She opened it. Scanned the pages. The photos, her at the L stop, her brother at a Bulls game, her mom in a hospital gown. The debt summary. The red paid stamp. Her face went pale. "You paid for my mom?" He didn't answer.
Couldn't.
She looked up, eyes blazing. "Answer me." "Yes." "When?" 3 weeks ago." She closed the folder. Set it down like it was radioactive. "I didn't ask for your charity." "It wasn't charity." "Then what was it?" He stepped closer. "Insurance." "Against what?" "Against you disappearing." The words hung there, raw and ugly. She stared at him like she was seeing him for the first time. Not the suit, not the penthouse, not the legend.
Just the man.
"You don't get to buy me," she whispered. "I'm not buying you. I'm keeping you." The distinction was razor-thin and bleeding. Veronica's hand went to her throat. She backed up until her shoulders hit the wall. The folder slid to the floor, papers scattering. Dale didn't move to pick them up. I should quit, she said. You won't. Why not? Because you need this job. And because you're curious. About what? What happens when the monster wants something he can't have? Her breath hitched. The space between them shrank to inches. He could smell her shampoo, coconut, cheap, intoxicating. Veronica's voice was barely a thread. You're not a monster. No, he said. I'm worse. I'm the man who decides who lives. She reached out, hesitated, then brushed a speck of dust from his lapel. The touch was featherlight, but it burned. Don't, she said. Don't what? Don't make me want to stay. Too late. The elevator chimed again. His driver early. The spell cracked. Veronica stepped around him, knelt to gather the papers. Her hand shook now, no hiding it. Dale crouched to help. Their fingers brushed over the same page, her mother's discharge summary. This time, neither pulled away. He spoke first. The driver's name is Tony. He'll text you when he's downstairs. You don't like him, I'll fire him. She nodded once. And Veronica? She looked up. The card. Use it. Or don't. But you're not walking home again. Not ever. She stood, a folder clutched to her chest like armor. I'm not yours to protect, she said. Dale rose too, towered over her. But his voice was soft. You became mine the second you laughed at me in the rain. She had no comeback for that. Veronica disappeared into the service corridor, the folder still in her arms. Dale watched the door close, then picked up her untouched coffee. Drank it black, oat milk and all. Outside, the city woke up, sirens, trains, the distant roar of a jet descending into O'Hare. Inside, the penthouse felt smaller, hotter, like the walls were closing in on a secret neither of them had signed up for. He pulled out his phone, typed a text to Tony. New rule. Veronica Suzuki. 24/7 detail. She doesn't see you. She doesn't know you're there. But if anything happens to her, you're done. Permanently. Asterisk, asterisk. He hit send. Then he opened the camera app. Pulled up last night's security feed, State and Madison, 11:58 p.m. There she was, laughing in the rain. Ryan's arm around her. Dale's own face twisted in something that looked a lot like pain. He saved the clip. Labeled it V. And for the first time in 20 years, Dale M. Oneal felt the ground shift under his feet. Not from a rival. Not from a bullet. From a maid who just realized the devil wanted her soul and wasn't sure she wanted to keep it. The penthouse's glass walls reflected two worlds, Dale's order, Veronica's quiet chaos. On one side, the city glittered like a loaded clip, Willis Tower strobing red for the holidays, Lake Michigan a black void swallowing the horizon. Inside, Dale's empire ran on rails, encrypted laptops humming on the dining table, burner phones in a neat row, a Glock 19 stripped for cleaning on a silk cloth. Everything in its place. On the other side, Veronica moved through the chaos she created just by existing. A half-eaten sweet green salad abandoned on the counter. One AirPod missing. Her Northwestern hoodie draped over a $12,000 Eames chair like it belonged there. The faint scent of coconut shampoo lingering in the air conditioning vents. Chaos, yes, but the kind that made Dale's pulse stutter. He stood at the window, city lights painting stripes across his face, tie loosened, sleeves rolled. The Glock was reassembled now, slide locked back, magazine out. He hadn't touched it in 20 minutes. His phone buzzed. Luca. Albanians push the meat to 10. They're twitchy. Are you good? Dale typed back. Handle it. I'm tied up. He deleted the message before sending it. Typed again. On my way. Didn't send that either. Behind him, Veronica vacuumed the media room. The low drone of the Dyson was the only sound. She'd been in at 6 p.m. sharp. New schedule since the driver rule. Tony dropped her at the private garage entrance, badge scanned, escorted by two silent shadows she pretended not to notice. Dale noticed everything. He noticed the way she'd stopped humming. The way she kept her back to him when she dusted. The way she'd started wearing the new uniform he'd sent over. Black joggers, soft cotton tee, both tailored, both monogrammed with a tiny O on the hem. She'd left the tags on for 2 days. Cut them off this morning. He noticed the folder was gone from the console drawer. She'd taken it. Or burned it. Didn't matter. The damage was done. His lieutenants noticed too. Earlier that day, 2:14 p.m., Billy Goat Tavern basement. The air was thick with cigar smoke and the stink of fear. 5 capos around a scarred table, Dale at the head. The Albanians wanted a bigger cut of the O'Hare pipeline. Dale wanted their heads on pikes. But his mind was upstairs. 87 floors up. On a girl folding laundry. Luca leaned in. Boss. You with us? Dale blinked. Realized he'd been staring at the same line in the ledger for 3 minutes. $2.4 M short. Run it again, he said. We ran it twice, Marco muttered. Numbers don't lie. You do. The table went still. Dale's eyes cut to him, slow, lethal. Say that again. Marco swallowed. I said. Luca kicked him under the table. Hard. Dale stood. The chair scraped like a gunshot. The meeting's over. Luca, clean this up. I want answers by midnight. He was out the door before anyone exhaled. In the Escalade, Tony glanced in the rear view. Home, boss. Dale didn't answer. Just stared at his phone. A new notification. *** Veronica J. Suzuki used a company card at Whole Foods. $47.82. ***. He opened the receipt. Organic strawberries. Oat milk. A single pint of Toleni gelato. Madagascar vanilla. He smiled. Couldn't help it. Tony saw it in the mirror. Raised an eyebrow. Dale killed the smile. Drive. Veronica emerged from the media room. Vacuum cord coiled like a snake. She unplugged it, wound it tight, set it in the closet. Every movement is deliberate. Controlled. Dale turned from the window. You're early. Finish the bedrooms, she said. Didn't look at him. The guest suite had a wine stain. It took longer. He nodded. Crossed to the kitchen island. Opened the Sub-Zero. Pulled out a takeout bag. Alinea to go. Michelin 3-star. $400. For her. Set it on the counter. Dinner. She glanced at the bag. Then at him. I ate. You ate a $6 salad at 3 p.m. This is better. I'm not hungry. You will be. She sighed. Finally met his eyes. Stop. Stop what? This. She gestured at the bag, the uniform, the invisible security detail. The clothes. The food. The watching. You can't keep doing this. He leaned against the island, arms crossed. Then stop making me. Her laugh was sharp. That's not how this works. It's exactly how this works. She stepped closer, close enough that he could see the faint freckles across her nose, the tiny scar on her eyebrow, the way her pulse fluttered at her throat. You don't get to rewrite my life because you had a jealous meltdown in the rain. I'm not rewriting anything. I'm upgrading. Upgrading. She shook her head. You sound like a tech bro. I sound like a man who doesn't lose. She flinched. Just once. Dale softened, barely. Eat the damn food, Veronica. She opened the bag. Peeked inside. Wagyu short rib. Truffle mash. Some foam thing that probably cost $80. I closed it. I'll eat it tomorrow. Tomorrow it's cold. Then microwave it. He stared. She stared back. Stalemate. Veronica moved to the hallway linen closet. Pulled out fresh sheets, Egyptian cotton, 1,200 thread count. He'd replaced all the bedding last week. Hers too. She'd found the new sets stacked in her locker, tags still on. She carried them to the master bedroom. Dale followed. Not subtly. She ignored him. Stripped the duvet with practiced efficiency. Fitted the new sheet. Hospital corners. Tucked. Fluffed. He watched from the doorway, shoulder against the frame. You missed a wrinkle. She didn't look up. It's a sheet, not a contract. Everything in this house is perfect. You know that. She smoothed the duvet. Nothing's perfect. You are. The words slipped out before he could stop them. She froze. Hands on the pillows. Slowly she turned. Don't what? Say things like that. Why not? Because they're not true. And because you don't mean them. He pushed off the doorframe, crossed the room in 3 strides, stopped just short of touching her. I mean every word I say. She looked up at him, eyes wide,
Wary.
You don't know me. I know you hum when you think no one's listening. I know you take your coffee with 2 Splendas and oat milk. I know you flinch when the garbage disposal groans. I know you cry in the service elevator when you think the cameras are off. Her breath caught. I know you, he said. Better than you want me to. She stepped back, hit the bed, sat down hard. You're scaring me. Good. She stared. That's not good. It's honest. Silence stretched. The city hummed beyond the glass. A siren wailed somewhere down Michigan Avenue. Veronica spoke first. I'm not a puzzle for you to solve. No, he said. You're a problem I can't. She laughed. Bitter, broken. Then fire me. I won't. Then I'll quit. You won't. How do you know? Because you need this job. And because you're still here. She looked away. Out the window. The lights blurred. Dale sat beside her. Not touching. Close enough to feel her heat. I had the agency send over new uniforms, he said. Your size. Better fabric. Warmer. You'll need them when winter hits. I have clothes. Not like these. I don't want them. Too bad. She turned to him. Why are you doing this? He didn't answer right away. Just looked at her. Really looked. Because I can, he said finally. And because I want to. That's not a reason. It's the only one I've got. Veronica stood in the walk-in closet, hanging the new uniforms. Black. Navy.
Charcoal.
All soft. All expensive. All hers. Dale leaned in the doorway, watching. She pulled out a navy cashmere sweater. Hold it up. This is $400. $380. On sale. She folded it. Set it on the shelf. I can't accept this. You already did. She turned. I didn't. You're wearing joggers. She looked down. Black.
Soft.
Monogrammed. I was cold. Exactly. She opened her mouth. I closed it. Dale stepped into the closet. Crowded her space. Not threatening. Just there. Try the sweater.
No.
Veronica. She sighed. Pulled it over her head. The cashmere swallowed her. Sleeves are too long. Neckline slipping off one shoulder. She looked soft. Vulnerable. Dale's throat went dry.
See, he said.
Perfect. She looked in the mirror. Touched the sleeve. It's too much. Nothing's too much. She met his eyes in the reflection. This isn't protection, she said quietly. This is control. He didn't deny it. She pulled the sweater off. I folded it. Set it back. I'll keep the joggers, she said. For work. That's it. He nodded.
Once.
Dale's phone buzzed. Luca. Albanians folded. Pipeline's ours. But word's out. Marco's running his mouth. Says you're distracted. Says it's the maid. Dale stared at the message. Veronica was in the kitchen, eating the Alinea short rib.
Cold.
With a plastic fork. He walked in. She looked up. Mouth full. He held up the phone. My people are talking. She swallowed. About what? You. She set the fork down. Let them talk. They think I'm weak. Are you? He didn't answer. She stood. I walked to him. Stopped just short. You're not weak, she said. You're obsessed. He looked down at her. And you're not scared? I'm terrified. Of me? Of this. She gestured between them. Of what happens when you realize I'm not worth it. He cupped her face. Thumb brushing her cheekbone. You're worth everything. She closed her eyes. Don't say that. I'll say it every day until you believe it. She pulled away. Stepped back. I have to go. Tony's waiting. I know. She grabbed her bag. Headed for the service door. Dale followed. At the threshold she turned. You can't keep me here. I'm not. You're trying. I'm succeeding. She laughed, soft, sad. Good night, Dale.
The door closed.
He stood there a long time. Later, in the dark, Dale opened the security app, pulled up the hallway feed. I watched her walk to the elevator. Tony is waiting. She didn't look back. He opened the closet cam. The navy sweater was back on the shelf, folded, but the sleeve was inside out. She'd tried it on again. He smiled. Then he opened a new group chat. His lieutenants. Anyone speaks her name again, they're out. Permanently.
He hit send.
The fracture was complete. Dale's empire was iron. Veronica was the rust. And rust, once it starts, doesn't stop. They were locked in a silent battle now. Neither wanted to win. Both knew someone had to lose. The obsidian lounge throbbed under the magmile like a second heart. Black marble veins. Gold veins of champagne. Red veins of blood nobody talked about. Dale owned the top 3 floors. Tonight, the rooftop was his coliseum. Strobe lights sliced the fog. Bass hit like artillery. Every power player in the Midwest wore a smile sharp enough to shave with. Dale stood at the VIP balcony rail, city glittering 30 stories below, a rocks glass of Macallan 30 sweating in his grip. Navy Tom Ford tux, no tie, top button undone. The bandage on his shoulder, Pilsen souvenir, itched under the jacket. He scanned the crowd the way a sniper scans a kill zone. Then he saw her. Veronica. Not in the staff polo. Not in the joggers. In a simple black dress. Sleeveless. Knee-length. Off the rack from Nordstrom Rack, maybe. But on her it looked like sin poured into silk. Hair down, loose waves catching the strobes. She balanced a tray of flutes like she belonged, but every head turned anyway. He'd told her to come as staff. Help the caterers. Stay invisible. She was a goddamn supernova. Dale's knuckles whitened on the rail. Marco DeLuca found him first. Slick hair, shark smile, pinky ring flashing under the LEDs. Rival from the west side, always sniffing for weakness.
Dale.
Marco clapped his shoulder, too hard. Heard you brought the help tonight. Bold move. Dale didn't turn. Heard you're still breathing. Temporary. Marco laughed, low and oily. Come on. The maid? In that dress? Are you slumming or recruiting? Below, Veronica wove through the crowd. A hedge fund wolf in Zegna touched her elbow, leaned in. She smiled, politely, and moved on. The wolf watched her go like a starving man. Dale's jaw flexed. Marco followed his gaze. Jesus. She's got half the room hard and the other half scared to look. You gonna share or? Dale spun. Glass shattered against the rail. Whiskey rained on Italian leather. Marco's bodyguards tensed. Dale didn't need to. Finish that sentence, Dale said, voice flat. And I finish you. Marco raised both hands, grin wider. Touchy. Didn't know the king kept pets. Dale stepped in until their noses almost touched. She's not a pet. She's the reason you're still standing. Marco's smile faltered. Just a flicker. Dale walked away before the flicker became a flame. He found her in the service corridor behind the DJ booth. Dim red exit sign bleeding over her skin. She leaned against the wall, tray abandoned, rubbing her wrist where some drunk had grabbed too hard. Dale's shadow fell over her. You're not staff tonight. Veronica looked up. Eyes wide, then narrow. You said attend. I attended. In that dress? It's the only nice thing I own. She pushed off the wall. Relax. I'm pouring Dom Perignon, not stripping. He blocked her path. Close. Too close. The bass thumped through the walls, syncing with his pulse. Every man out there is staring at you. Good for tips. Don't. Don't what? Let their eyes stay on you. She laughed, sharp. Then stop treating me like something you own. His hand shot out, caged her against the wall, palm flat beside her head. Not touching. Just there. Heat rolled off him in waves. I don't treat you like I own you, he said, voice gravel and smoke. I treat you like you're mine to protect. Same cage, different bars. Her breath hitched. His gaze dropped to her mouth. Lingered.
Dale.
It was the first time she'd said his name without the mister. It cracked something open in his chest.
He leaned in.
Forehead almost touching hers. You have any idea what it does to me? Seeing them look at you. I'm not a trophy. No, he whispered. You're the whole goddamn display case. Her lips parted. Anger, want, fear, all tangled. The corridor smelled like spilled vodka and her coconut shampoo. She shoved his chest. Not hard. Just enough. Back off. He didn't. I could ruin every man who touched you tonight. You'd start a war over a wrist grab? I'd start a war over a glance. Silence pulsed. The music outside faded to a dull roar. Veronica's voice dropped to a thread. You don't get to decide who looks at me. I decide who breathes near you. That's not love, Dale. That's ownership. Maybe I don't know the difference. Her eyes searched for him. Found the fracture. The raw edge.
Then learn, she said.
She ducked under his arm. I walked away. Heels clicking on concrete. Dress swaying like a dare. Dale didn't follow. Just watched her disappear into the strobes. His phone buzzed. Luca, asterisk. Marco's drunk. Running his mouth in the VIP lounge. Says the maid's your kryptonite. Want me to shut it down? Dale typed. Let him talk. For now. He deleted it. Typed. Break his fingers. One for every time he says her name. Sent. Then he leaned against the wall where she'd been. Inhaled.
Coconut.
Champagne. Her. His pulse was a war drum. Jaw tight. Hands shaking. She'd walked away first. And for the first time in his life, Dale M. Oneal didn't know if he'd survive the night without following. He stayed in the corridor long after the music died. Long after the last bottle popped. Long after Marco's scream echoed from the VIP lounge, high and broken. Veronica was gone. Tony had texted. Home safe. 12:47 a.m. Dale stared at the message. Thumb hovering. He opened the security app. Pulled up the lobby feed. There she was stepping out of the Escalade. Dress rumpled. Hair wild. She looked up at the camera, just for a second. Like she knew he was watching. Then she was gone. Dale closed the app. I looked at his reflection in the black glass. The king was bleeding. And the maid held the knife. The burner on the marble island vibrated like a trapped wasp. Veronica was reorganizing the Sub-Zero. Truffle mash in Tupperware. Wagyu short rib she still hadn't tasted. The penthouse was dead, quiet except for the low hum of the city 87 floors below. She dried her hands on the dish towel. Stared at the 312-555-0193 flashing on the screen. Picked up on the third buzz. Veronica Suzuki? Voice flat, Midwestern wrong. Who's this? Tell your boss to come alone. Abandoned rail yard. South Halstead. 1 hour. No cops. No guns. Just him. Her stomach dropped through the floor. Ryan. The name tore out of her. What did you do to Ryan? A soft laugh. He's breathing.
For now.
Tick-tock.
Click.
The phone slipped from her fingers, cracked against marble. She caught the island, knees buckling, breath shredding.
Dale.
She ran. Dale was in the war room, the guest suite turned ops center. 3 monitors glowed. Security feeds, cargo routes, a live map of O'Hare. He stood in gray sweatpants and a black tee, hair wild, Glock stripped on the desk beside a half-crushed Red Bull. The door slammed. Veronica filled the frame, barefoot, black party dress wrinkled, mascara rivers. Eyes feral. They have Ryan. Dale's universe tilted. He crossed the room in 2 strides. Gripped her shoulders too tight. Talk. She shoved the burner at him. 1 incoming call. 3:11 a.m. His comm detonated. He redialed. Voicemail. Generic. South Halstead Rail Yard, she whispered. 1 hour. Alone. Dale's jaw locked like a vault. Marco DeLuca. The penthouse became a hive. Dale barked into 3 phones at once. Luca, full crew to the yard. Snipers on the water tower. Drones up. Every rusted boxcar. Tony, Escalade. The armory is open.
Now.
Jimmy, Wake the Albanians. Tell them DeLuca just declared war. Veronica hovered in the doorway, arms wrapped around herself, like she might shatter. Monitors pinged, body cams, traffic cams, hacked CPD drone. Black SUVs swallowed men below. AR-15s. Suppressors. Duffels heavy with cash and C4. Dale strapped on a tactical vest. Checked the Glock. Slid a second into his waistband. Veronica's voice sliced the chaos. You don't have to do this.
He didn't stop.
Loaded a mag, racked the slide. I already did the moment I followed you. She stepped in front of him. Blocked the door.
Dale.
Look at me.
He did.
Red-rimmed eyes, fierce. This is my brother. Not your war. He cupped her face gentle now. Thumb wiping a tear. Your brother became my war the second they touched him to get to you. She shook her head. They'll kill him anyway. They'll try. He moved to pass. She grabbed the vest. I'll go. Trade myself.
No.
I'm the bait. You're the reason, he snarled. Not the trade. Monitors pinged. Luca, asterisk. Thermal, 6 heat signatures, West Warehouse. 1 tied to a chair. Kids alive. Dale's eyes never left hers. Stay here. Lock the doors. Tony's outside. He kissed her forehead, quick, brutal, final. Then he was gone. 6 black Escalades roared south on the Dan Ryan. Lights off. Dale rode shotgun in the lead, window cracked, wind whipping his face. Glock on his thigh. The phone buzzed. Unknown. Same 312.
Speaker.
Dale Oneal. Marco, oily amused. Early. Eager. Where's the kid? Safe.
For now.
Bring the maid. Dale's grip whitened. You wanted me.
You got me.
Marco laughed. Bring her anyway. Want to see the fuss. Dale killed the call. Luca glanced over. Baiting you. He's breathing his last. The rail yard sprawled like a corpse, rusted boxcars, broken glass, graffiti bleeding. Dale's floodlights carved white scars. Veronica wasn't in the penthouse. She'd ghosted past Tony in the service elevator. Wore Dale's black hoodie over the dress. Hair knotted. Sneakers. Burner clutched like a grenade. Red line to 35th. I walked the last mile. She wasn't bait. She was the fuse. Dale's team fanned out. Snipers on silos. Drones overhead. Luca at his side, AR low. Thermal confirmed. Ryan tied. 6 hostiles. 1 rooftop lookout. The earpiece crackled. Sniper 1 asterisk. Female. Black hoodie. East gate. It's her. Dale's blood turned to ice. Veronica. He sprinted. She reached the chain link. Cut a hole with bolt cutters lifted from the penthouse garage. Slipped through. Warehouse loomed. Corrugated metal. Diesel stink. Rust. Ryan's voice, muffled. Terrified. Ronnie. Her heart cracked open. She stepped into the open. Marco's men swarmed. Dale burst through the side door. Glock up. The scene hit like a sledgehammer. Ryan, duct-taped, face swollen, lips split. Veronica, knees in gravel, zip-tied. Marco, between them, .38 to Ryan's temple, grinning. Told you alone. Dale's gun never wavered. Let them go. Or what? Shoot? Bullet goes through the kid first. Veronica's eyes locked on Dale. Pleading. Furious.
Dale.
Don't. He didn't blink. Luca in his ear. Snipers have 3 clean shots.
Say it.
Dale's finger tightened. Marco pressed harder. Drop it, Oneal. Or I paint the wall with DePaul brains. Veronica's voice cut the air. Do it. Everyone froze. She looked at Dale.
Steady.
Shoot him.
Through me if you have to.
Save Ryan. Marco laughed. Braver than you. Dale's world tunneled. Veronica. Ryan. Marco. Obsession had teeth. And they were sinking in. Warehouse lights flickered. Drones buzzed like hornets. Dale's crew closed the net. Marco's men shifted, sweating. Veronica's eyes never left Dale's. The city held its breath. The chase was over. The battlefield had begun. Thunder cracked the sky like a .50 cal Dale's convoy. 6 black Escalades barreled down a cracked service road toward the abandoned steel factory on the south side. Lightning strobed the rusted silos, floodlights cutting white scars through the downpour. Dale rode shotgun in the lead, tactical vest soaked, Glock in his lap. The graze on his shoulder from Pilsen throbbed, but adrenaline drowned it. Marco DeLuca had Ryan, and Veronica, against every order, had followed. His earpiece crackled. Luca *, snipers in position. 6 tangos inside. Kids in the main bay. Dale's jaw locked. Lighted up. The convoy screeched to a halt. Doors flew open. Men spilled out, AR-15s up, suppressors glinting. Rain hammered tin roofs. Gunfire erupted. Dale kicked in the side door. Muzzle flashes lit the dark like paparazzi. Bullets pinged off catwalks. A DeLuca thug dropped, chest blooming red. Dale pushed forward. Pain exploded in his thigh, hot, wet.
He didn't stop.
Blood soaked his jeans, but Ryan's muffled scream echoed from the bay. Another bullet grazed his vest. He returned fire. 2 rounds, center mass. Another body down. Screams. Orders. The stink of cordite and rust. He vaulted a conveyor belt. Saw Ryan, duct taped to a chair, face swollen, eyes wide. Marco stood behind him, .38 to Ryan's temple. Drop it, Oneal. Dale's gun never wavered. Luca's voice. Snipers have Marco. Say the word. Dale's finger tightened. Then movement. Veronica burst through a side door, hoodie plastered to her skin, hair wild, a stolen Glock shaking in her hands. Ryan.
Marco spun.
The gun swung toward her. Dale roared. Charged. Bullets tore the air. One clipped Dale's arm, flesh wound. He crashed into Marco, tackle him to the concrete.
Fists.
Elbows.
Blood.
Ryan's chair toppled. Veronica scrambled to him, knife from her pocket slicing tape. Dale pinned Marco. Barrel to his forehead. This ends. Marco grinned through blood. You're soft now. For her. Dale pulled the trigger.
Click.
Empty. Marco laughed. Reached for his ankle. Veronica's Glock barked. Once. Marco's knee exploded. He screamed. Dale snatched the .38. Finished it. Silence. Just rain and thunder. Dale staggered to Ryan. Cut the last ties. The kid collapsed into Veronica's arms. She looked up. Eyes locked on Dale. He was bleeding from 3 places. Vest shredded. Face pale. He took 1 step.
2.
Then his legs gave. He hit the rain-soaked floor hard. Blood pooling under him. Veronica screamed his name. Dropped beside him, hands shaking, pressing gauze from the med kit to his thigh. You could have died.
He coughed.
Blood on his lips. Managed a crooked grin. I told you, he breathed, voice ragged. I protect what's mine. Lightning flashed. His eyes, dark, fierce, never left hers. She realized it then. He'd destroy everything. Even himself. Just to keep her safe. Rain washed the blood into the drains. Ryan leaned on Veronica, alive. Dale's crew swarmed. Medics. Clean up. The works. She held Dale's face. His pulse was weak under her fingers. Sirens wailed in the distance. CPD. Too late. He'd burned the world. For her. The penthouse smelled of iodine and gun oil. Bullet holes in the foyer wall were patched with silver duct tape. Blood smears on the marble had been scrubbed to faint pink ghosts. The city outside glowed bruised purple, sunset bleeding into Lake Michigan. Inside, silence weighed like wet concrete. Dale sat on the edge of the California King, shirt gone, torso wrapped in fresh gauze. The factory had carved him up, thigh stitched in a ragged line, arm bound tight, shoulder graze reopened and restitched. The doc had left an hour ago with a bottle of Percocet and a warning, asterisk rest or die star. Dale nodded, then ignored both. Veronica moved around him like a nurse in a war zone, gentle, distant, mechanical. She'd showered in the guest bath, swapped the blood-crusted hoodie for hospital scrubs from Rush Medical. Hair in a damp braid, face scrubbed raw, eyes hollow. She unpacked the med kit on the nightstand. Saline, sterile gauze, antibiotic ointment, a roll of Coban she hadn't touched yet. She knelt in front of him, peeled the old thigh dressing. The wound was ugly, suture line angry, skin puckered, bruising blooming black and purple. She cleaned it with saline, no flinch, no sound. Her hands were surgeon steady. Dale watched her. Couldn't stop. You don't have to do this, he rasped. Voice shredded from smoke and screaming. She didn't look up. I'm not doing it for you. The silence stretched. City sirens wailed far below. She taped fresh gauze. Her knuckles brushed his skin, cool, clinical. But he felt it like a live wire. He caught her wrist.
Light.
Veronica. She froze. Eyes on the bandage. Let go.
He did.
Slowly. She stood, repacked the kit, set it on the dresser. Turned to leave. Dale's voice cracked the air. I knew who you were before you worked for me. The words landed like a grenade. Veronica turned. Slow. Face blank. What? He leaned forward, elbows on knees, stitches pulling. I had you checked. Agency file. Background. Mom's bills. Ryan's tuition. Your double shifts at the Cermak diner. All of it. Her breath caught. I picked you, he said. Told them to send you. The room tilted. Veronica grabbed the bedpost. Every shift. Every uniform. Everyone, everything. You chose me? He nodded.
Once.
She laughed, sharp, shattered, incredulous. So the first night I scrubbed your floors, you already knew I was drowning in $187,000 of debt? Knew my mom was dying? Knew I'd take any job to keep Ryan and DePaul? Yes. Her knees buckled. She sank onto the ottoman. Jesus Christ, Dale. He didn't move. Just watched her unravel. I thought, she swallowed hard. I thought the cashmere sweater, the Alinea leftovers, the driver, it was guilt. Or obsession. Or whatever the hell this is. She waved between them. But it was a plan? No plan, he said. Insurance. Insurance. She spat the word. Against what? Against losing you before I had you. Silence. The city hummed beyond the glass. Veronica stood. Paced. Stopped at the window. Stared at the lake. Every time you watched me dust your first editions. Every time you leave oat milk coffee on the island. Every time you touched me, her voice cracked. Was it all calculated?
No.
Don't lie. I'm not. He stood, slow, wincing, crossed to her, stopped short. The file was calculated. The job was calculated. The rest wasn't. She turned, eyes blazing. So what? I was a project? A pet? A thing to fix. You were a variable, he said. I control variables. And now you're the only thing I can't. She laughed, wet, furious. You paid my mom's bills. Anonymously. That was you. He nodded. $187,000.
Gone.
Just like that. I had it. You had it. She stepped closer. You had me. From day one. He didn't deny it. Veronica's hands shook. She pressed them to her face. I laughed at you in the rain, she whispered. I thought it was real. The jealousy. The protectiveness. The way you looked at me like I was something. You are. Stop. I can't. She backed away. Hit the dresser. The med kit clattered. So this was all control? Her voice was barely air. No, he said. It was survival. She stared. Explain. He took a breath. Stitches burned. I run an empire built on fear. On calculation. On never letting anyone close enough to cut me. Then you walked in with your humming and your hospital bills and your brother's stupid DePaul hoodie, and I felt something I hadn't felt since I was 15. Weakness. He stepped closer. I tried to box it. Control it. Pay it off. But you kept slipping through. Every time you thanked Mr. Adebayo by name. Every time you folded my Brioni shirts like they mattered. Every time you looked through me instead of at me. His voice dropped. You weren't a variable anymore. You were a threat. To everything I built. To the man I had to be. Veronica's eyes filled. So you bought me. I tried to keep you. With money. With rules. With lies. With everything I had. She shook her head. Tears spilled. I cleaned blood off your floors, Dale. I saw the guns. The men. The fear in their eyes when you walked in. And I still thought, maybe you were different from me. I am. Are you? She gestured at the bandages. You took 3 bullets for my brother. Stormed a factory like a one-man army. And it was all because you decided I was yours before I even knew your name.
He had no answer.
She wiped her face with the scrub sleeve. I need air. She moved to pass. He blocked her. Not rough. Just there. Veronica. Let me go. I can't. You have to. He stepped aside. She walked past. Didn't look back. At the door, she paused. You know what the worst part is? He waited. I still want to stay. The door clicked shut. Dale stood in the same spot for a long time. The city lights sharpened as night swallowed the sunset. He opened the dresser drawer. Pulled out the original file. Veronica J. Suzuki. 24. Rush medical debt. $187,432.18. Brother, Ryan Suzuki, DePaul sophomore. Mother, Linda Suzuki, stage for lymphoma. Asterisk, asterisk. He flipped to the photo. Her at the 35th Street L stop, wind whipping her hair, smiling at something off camera. He'd stare at this picture for hours before the agency interview. Told himself it was due diligence. Liar. He set it down. Opened the safe. Pulled out a velvet box. Inside, a ring. Platinum. Simple band. No diamond. Bought the day after the Obsidian Lounge party. Told himself it was a backup plan. Liar. He closed the box. Locked the safe. Veronica stood in the service elevator. Alone. The doors closed. She pressed the button for the garage. Her reflection stared back. Scrubs too big. Eyes too old. She pulled out her phone. Opened the GoFundMe for her mom. Balance. $2,300. Last donation. 3 weeks ago. Anonymous. She closed it. Leaned her head against the wall. The elevator dinged. Garage level. Tony waited by the Escalade. Cap low. No smile. Ms. Suzuki. She nodded.
Got in.
The drive was silent. Tony took Lakeshore Drive south, past the Adler Planetarium, the shed glowing blue against the black water. She watched the lake. Endless. At her building, crumbling brick walk-up in Bridgeport, Tony parked. You need anything you call, he said. She almost laughed. I need a time machine. He didn't smile. Handed her a new burner. Boss's orders. 24/7. She took it. Got out. The air smelled like wet concrete and distant hot dog stands. She climbed the stairs. Key in the lock. Inside, Ryan on the couch, bandaged, alive, playing Fortnite with one hand. He looked up.
Grinned.
Hey, sis. She dropped her bag. Crossed the room. Hugged him so hard he winced.
Ow.
Bullet wound. Sorry. She pulled back. You okay?
Alive.
Thanks to your psycho boyfriend. He's not. Yeah. Ryan paused the game. He carried me out like a sack of potatoes. Took 3 bullets. Didn't flinch. Veronica sat. Stared at the TV. Mario Kart loading screen. He told me everything, she said. Ryan muted the volume. The file? She nodded. Ryan whistled. Dude's intense. He's a monster. Nah. Ryan shrugged. Monsters don't bleed for strangers. She had no comeback. Back in the penthouse, Dale poured a drink. I didn't drink it. He opened the security app. Pulled up her building's feed. Street cam he'd installed last month. Told himself it was for her safety. She stood on the stoop. Hoodie up. Staring at the sky. He zoomed in. Her face was wet. Rain or tears, I couldn't tell. His phone buzzed. Luca, asterisk. Marco's crew scattered. Feds circling. We need you. Dale typed. Tomorrow. He watched her go inside. Closed the app. Sat in the dark. The ring box burned a hole in the safe.
He didn't open it.
Veronica lay in her childhood bed, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars Ryan had stuck up when they were kids. Faded now. Peeling. Her phone, the new burner, lit up. Unknown asterisk. I'm sorry. She didn't reply. Didn't delete it either. Across town, Dale stood at the window. City lights reflected in his eyes. He'd let her walk. First time in his life. It didn't feel like freedom. It felt like bleeding out. The penthouse was a tomb of glass and shadow. The city outside pulsed like a living thing, red taillights snaking down Lakeshore Drive, the Willis Tower strobing white against a starless sky, the lake a black mirror swallowing everything. Inside, the air was thick with silence and the faint scent of antiseptic. Bullet holes in the foyer had been filled and painted over, bloodstains bleached from the marble until only ghosts remained. The obsidian spire stood sentinel, 87 floors above the chaos, but tonight it felt like a cage. Dale stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, one hand braced against the cool glass, the other cradling a tumbler of Macallan 25 he hadn't tasted. He wore black sweatpants and a loose white tee, bandages peeking beneath the sleeve, thigh, arm, shoulder, all stitched and healing slowly. The doc had threatened hospitalization if he didn't rest. Dale had sent him away with a check and a glare. He hadn't slept in 4 nights. Not since she walked out. The security feed on his phone was open to her building's stoop cam. Empty. It had been for hours. He refreshed it anyway. Told himself it was a habit. Liar. The private elevator chimed. His pulse kicked hard once. He didn't turn. The doors slid open. Soft footsteps on marble. The faint scent of coconut shampoo and hospital soap. Veronica. She stood in the foyer, duffel bag slung over one shoulder, still in the Rush medical scrubs from the factory night. Hair loose, damp from the drizzle outside. Eyes red-rimmed, but steady. Dale finally faced her. City lights carved shadows across his face. Cheekbones sharp, jaw tight, eyes dark with something that looked a lot like fear. She dropped the bag. It hit the floor with a dull thud. I don't belong in your world, she said. Her voice was quiet, but cut like a blade. Dale set the tumbler on the console. Didn't move closer. Then let me build you one. The words hung between them. No command. No plea. Just the truth. Veronica laughed, soft, broken, incredulous. You don't get it, do you? Your world is blood and bullets and men who flinch when you walk in. I clean your floors, Dale. I fold your shirts. I'm not. She gestured at the penthouse, the city, him.
This.
He took one step.
Slow.
You're everything this isn't. She shook her head. You decided I was yours before I even met you. You paid my mom's bills.
You stalked me. You chose me.
And I hate that I needed it. Another step. I hate that I did it too. She blinked. What? I hate that I needed to control you to feel safe. I hate that I lied. I hate that I let you walk out thinking you were just a variable. His voice cracked on the last word. You're not. Veronica's hands clenched at her sides. Then what am I? He stopped a foot away, close enough to see the freckles across her nose, the tiny scar on her eyebrow, the way her pulse fluttered at her throat. You're the only thing I've ever wanted that I can't buy. Silence. The city roared below, but up here, it was just them. She looked away. Out the window. Ryan's home. Mom's stable. I quit the agency. I was gonna leave Chicago. Start over. Somewhere quiet. Maybe Portland. Dale's chest tightened. You still can. She turned back, eyes searching for him. Can I? He didn't answer. Just held her gaze. Veronica stepped closer. You took 3 bullets for my brother. You burned a factory to the ground. You let me walk away. And you didn't follow. I wanted to. I know. Another step.
They were inches apart now.
She could smell the whiskey on his breath, the faint metallic tang of blood under the bandages. I came back because I can't stop thinking about you bleeding out on that concrete, she whispered. Because every time I close my eyes, I see you carrying Ryan like he was yours. Because I hate you for making me need you. Dale's hand lifted, slow, careful, hovered near her cheek. Didn't touch. I don't need you to need me, he said. I need you to want to stay. Her breath hitched. You don't ask, Dale. You command. Not with you. The words were raw, stripped bare. Veronica's eyes filled. She didn't blink them away. I'm terrified, she said. Of your world. Of what you'll do to keep me. Of what I'll let you do. I know. I don't know how to be yours without losing myself. You won't. How can you promise that? Because I already lost myself the second you laughed at me in the rain. She stared. A tear slipped down her cheek. Dale finally touched her, thumb brushing it away. Gentle, reverent. Stay, he said. Not a command. Not a plea. Just a word. Simple. Devastating. Veronica's hand came up, covering his. Hold it there. I don't know how to do this, she whispered. Me neither. Snow piled against the windows. The city disappeared under white. Veronica stood at the island, chopping onions for chili. Wedding band glinting under the pendants. She'd gained weight, stress eating, she said. He liked it. I liked her softness. Liked her real. Dale leaned in the doorway, watching. Arms crossed. Bandage gone. Scars healing pink. You're staring, she said without looking. Always. She smiled.
Small. Real.
He crossed the room, wrapped arms around her from behind. Chin on her shoulder. Smells good. You hate chili. I hate everything but you. She laughed. Turned in his arms. Onion hands on his chest. You're bleeding through your shirt. He glanced down. A spot of red on the white tee. Old wound reopened. Worth it, she sighed. Led him to the bathroom. Sat him on the counter. I cleaned it. Stitched it herself. Med school dropout skills. Her hands are steady.
You have to stop getting shot, she said.
No promises. She taped the gauze.
Kissed the scar.
I love you, she said. First time. He froze. She waited. He cupped her face. I loved you the first time you hummed Ella while scrubbing blood off my floor. Her eyes filled. He kissed her, slow, deep, reverent. The crew gathered. Tension thick. Feds circling. Albanians pushing. A new player from Detroit sniffed the O'Hare pipeline. Dale sat at the head. Silent. Eyes flat. Luca briefed.
Maps.
Photos. Names. Marco's cousin, new boss. Wanted blood. Dale listened. Didn't speak. When it ended, a young capo, brave or stupid, leaned in.
Boss.
Word is you're soft now. Married. Distracted. They're saying. Dale's hand moved. Knife from his sleeve. Embedded in the table an inch from the kid's fingers. The room went still. Dale's voice was ice. Say her name again. See what happens. The kid swallowed. Backed down. Luca hid a smile. Spring teased the air, but snow still clung to the shadows. Veronica stood at the rail, city lights below. Wedding band catching the glow. Dale joined her. Handed her a mug. Oat milk hot chocolate. She took it. You remembered. I remember everything. She leaned into him. Ryan's graduating in May. I want to move to California. Says he can't breathe here. Dale nodded. I'll pay for it. I know. Silence. She turned. They're saying you're different. Colder. That I broke you. He met her eyes. You didn't break me. You made me remember I'm human. She smiled.
Sad. Soft.
I'm pregnant, she said. His world stopped. She watched him. Waited. He dropped to his knees. Slow. Careful. Pressed his forehead to her stomach. Veronica's hand threaded through his hair. It's yours, she whispered. Obviously. He laughed, choked, broken real. She knelt with him. They held each other in the snow. Same priest. Same candles. No witnesses. Veronica in scrubs. Dale in a hoodie. Both exhausted. The priest blessed the ultrasound photo. 12 weeks. Tiny heartbeat. Dale kissed her knuckles. Boy or girl? Doesn't matter. He nodded.
Ours.
Feds raided at dawn. Dale was ready. Evidence burned. Witnesses gone. Luca took the fall voluntary. 10 years. Dale visited him weekly. Brought Veronica's chili. The syndicate held. Dale grew quieter. More ruthless. But every night he came home. Washed blood from his hands. Crawled into bed beside her. Held her belly. Listened to the heartbeat through the monitor. She never asked where he'd been. He never lied. Veronica painted the nursery. Soft gray. White crib. Mobile of stars. Dale built the rocking chair himself. Hands scarred. Bandaged again. She watched him sand the wood. You're terrible at this. I'm learning. She smiled. For her? For us. Heat wave. The city is shimmering. They lay on lounge chairs. Her belly is round. His hand on it.
Kick. He grinned.
Strong. Like her mom. Like her dad. She turned. When they ask why you risked everything for a maid. He cut her off. Kissed her. Because she made me remember I'm human. Years later, when the feds finally came, when the empire cracked, when the bullets flew, when the city burned, reporters asked the question. Asterisk. Why her? Why risk it all for a maid? Asterisk. Dale, cuffed, bleeding, smiling, looked straight into the camera. Because she made me remember I'm human. Snow fell again. December, 1 year later. The chapel doors opened. Dale and Veronica walked out, hand in hand. She is in white coat, belly round. He in black, scars hidden. Luca waited with the Escalade.
Grinned.
They climbed in. The city disappeared behind them. 2 silhouettes in the snow. Bound not by love alone. By obsession.
By choice. By blood.
Fade to black. Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button. See you in the next video. Snow fell in thick, silent sheets over the city, blanketing the Gold Coast in white hush. The chapel on North State Parkway, tiny, stone, built in 1892, was lit only by candles. No heat. No music. Just flickering gold against stained glass and the soft creak of old wood under boots. Dale stood at the altar, black wool overcoat unbuttoned, white shirt crisp, cuff hiding the fresh bandage on his right hand. The grays from the factory had reopened last week during a sit-down in Little Village. He hadn't flinched, hadn't let the doc stitch it until after. Pain was penance. Luca stood 3 feet back, only witness, only family. Black suit, no tie, eyes scanning the shadows like always. The priest, an old Irishman who'd buried more kapos than saints, waited in silence, Bible closed. The side door opened. Cold air rushed in. Veronica. She wore a simple white dress, long-sleeved, high-necked, off the rack from Nordstrom, but on her it looked like moonlight. No veil. Hair down, loose waves dusted with snowflakes. Boots swapped for white flats at the threshold. She carried nothing but herself. Dale's breath caught. Just once. She walked the aisle alone. No music. No father. No Ryan. He'd refused to come, said he couldn't watch her marry the devil. She'd kissed his forehead and left anyway. 10 steps.
8. 5.
She stopped in front of Dale. Snow melting in her hair. His eyes, dark, unreadable, met hers. I can't give you peace, he said. Voice low, steady. But I can give you my name. Veronica trembled. Not from the cold. Then I'll take it. The priest opened the Bible. Cleared his throat. No vows written. No script. Just the truth. Dale took her left hand. He was warm despite the bandage. Hers was ice. The ring, platinum, simple band, no diamond, slid on smoothly. Her fingers shook. He didn't. Their eyes locked. Not redemption. Understanding. The priest murmured Latin. Neither listened. Luca shifted.
Once.
Dale leaned in. Whispered against her ear. Veronica Oneal. She closed her eyes. Let it settle. The priest pronounced them bound. No kisses. Not here. Not yet. Whispers rippled through the syndicate like smoke under doors. Asterisk, he married the maid. Asterisk, asterisk in a chapel. No crew. No press. Asterisk. Asterisk. She's in the penthouse now. Full access. Asterisk. Asterisk. He killed 3 Albanians last night. Didn't blink. But he carried her groceries up 87 floors. Asterisk. Dale grew colder. Quieter. More dangerous. Sit-downs in basements, back rooms, abandoned lots. His voice never rose. His gun never missed. Men who once tested him now looked away first. But with her, he left the war room at 3 a.m. to find her asleep on the couch, med notes spread like confetti. He carried her to bed,
Tucked her in.
kissed her forehead. She worked doubles at Rush. He waited in the Escalade, engine running, no driver. When she emerged, exhausted, snow in her hair, he opened the door himself. No words. Just coffee, oat milk, 2 Splendas. They fought once. Over a burner phone she found in his coat. She threw it at the wall. Shattered. You promise no lies. I promise no cameras in the penthouse. That was business. She stormed out. Slept at her mom's.
He didn't follow.
She came back at dawn. Slipped into bed. Curled into his back. I hate you, she whispered. I know, he said. She kissed his shoulder blade. Don't stop.
He didn't.
Snow piled against the windows. The city disappeared under white. Veronica stood at the island, chopping onions for chili. Wedding band glinting under the pendants. She'd gained weight, stress eating, she said. He liked it. I liked her softness. Liked her real. Dale leaned in the doorway, watching. Arms crossed. Bandage gone. Scars healing pink. You're staring, she said without looking. Always. She smiled.
Small. Real.
He crossed the room, wrapped arms around her from behind. Chin on her shoulder. Smells good. You hate chili. I hate everything but you. She laughed. Turned in his arms. Onion hands on his chest. You're bleeding through your shirt. He glanced down. A spot of red on the white tee. Old wound reopened. Worth it.
She sighed.
Led him to the bathroom. Sat him on the counter. I cleaned it. Stitched it herself. Med school dropout skills. Her hands are steady. You have to stop getting shot, she said. No promises. She taped the gauze. Kissed the scar. I love you, she said. First time. He froze. She waited. He cupped her face. I loved you the first time you hummed Ella while scrubbing blood off my floor. Her eyes filled. He kissed her, slow, deep, reverent. The crew gathered. Tension thick. Feds circling. Albanians pushing. A new player from Detroit sniffed the O'Hare pipeline. Dale sat at the head. Silent. Eyes flat.
Luca briefed.
Maps. Photos. Names. Marco's cousin, new boss, wanted blood. Dale listened. Didn't speak. When it ended, a young capo, brave or stupid, leaned in.
Boss.
Word is yourself now.
Married.
Distracted. They're saying. Dale's hand moved. Knife from his sleeve. Embedded in the table an inch from the kid's fingers. The room went still. Dale's voice was ice. Say her name again. See what happens. The kid swallowed. Backed down. Luca hid a smile. Spring teased the air, but snow still clung to the shadows. Veronica stood at the rail, city lights below. Wedding band catching the glow. Dale joined her. Handed her a mug. Oat milk hot chocolate. She took it. You remembered. I remember everything. She leaned into him. Ryan's graduating in May. I want to move to California. Says he can't breathe here. Dale nodded. I'll pay for it. I know. Silence. She turned. They're saying you're different. Colder. That I broke you. He met her eyes. You didn't break me. You made me remember I'm human. She smiled.
Sad. Soft.
I'm pregnant, she said. His world stopped. She watched him. Waited. He dropped to his knees. Slow. Careful. Pressed his forehead to her stomach. Veronica's hand threaded through his hair. It's yours, she whispered. Obviously. He laughed, choked, broken real. She knelt with him. They held each other in the snow. Same priest. Same candles. No witnesses. Veronica in scrubs. Dale in a hoodie. Both exhausted. The priest blessed the ultrasound photo. 12 weeks. Tiny heartbeat. Dale kissed her knuckles. Boy or girl? Doesn't matter. He nodded.
Ours.
Feds raided at dawn. Dale was ready. Evidence burned. Witnesses gone. Luca took the fall voluntary. 10 years. Dale visited him weekly. Brought Veronica's chili. The syndicate held. Dale grew quieter. More ruthless. But every night he came home. Washed blood from his hands. Crawled into bed beside her. Held her belly. Listened to the heartbeat through the monitor. She never asked where he'd been. He never lied. Veronica painted the nursery. Soft gray. White crib. Mobile of stars. Dale built the rocking chair himself. Hand scarred. Bandaged again. She watched him sand the wood. You're terrible at this. I'm learning. She smiled. For her, for us. Heat wave. The city is shimmering. They lay on lounge chairs. Her belly is round.
His hand on it. Kick.
He grinned. Strong. Like her mom. Like her dad. She turned. When they ask why you risked everything for a maid. He cut her off.
Kissed her.
Because she made me remember I'm human. Years later, when the feds finally came, when the empire cracked, when the bullets flew, when the city burned, reporters asked the question. Asterisk, why her? Why risk it all for a maid? Asterisk. Dale, cuffed, bleeding, smiling, looked straight into the camera. Because she made me remember I'm human. Snow fell again. December 1 year later. The chapel doors opened. Dale and Veronica walked out, hand in hand. She is in white coat, belly round. He in black, scars hidden. Luca waited with the Escalade.
Grinned.
They climbed in. The city disappeared behind them. Two silhouettes in the snow. Bound not by love alone. By obsession.
By choice. By blood.
Fade to black. Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button. See you in the next video.